transverse section of the midbrain at the level of superior colliculi. Previously we have discussed the TS of the midbrain at the level of inferior colliculi. Most of the features of the superior colliculi are same as at the level of inferior colliculi, but there are some features which are different and we will discuss here. Transverse section, the midbrain, this level, substantia nigra, crus cerebri. Features of substantia nigra and crus cerebri, these are the same, but features at the tectum and tegmentum they differ. This is the cerebral aqueduct, central gray matter. In the tectum we will have superior colliculi. We know the superior colliculi, they are connected with the lateral geniculate bodies. They are connected with the lateral geniculate body through the superior brachium. Lateral geniculate body, superior brachium. Now, in this central gray matter, we have oculomotor nerve nuclei and the mesencephalic nuclei. Ventral to this oculomotor nerve, we have medial longitudinal fasciculus, then tectospinal tract, and another important feature, that is the red nucleus. These are the red nucleus. And on the lateral aspect, same, we will get medial longitudinal, medial lemniscus, trigeminal lemniscus, spinal lemniscus. As we know, the lateral lemniscus will not be present here because it is present only at the level of inferior colliculi. Medial lemniscus, trigeminal lemniscus, and spinal lemniscus. Another important nuclei which is present ventrolateral to the superior colliculi here is the pretectal nuclei. Pretectal nuclei. So here we will discuss important features. One is the oculomotor nerve nuclei, then red nuclei, superior colliculi, and pretectal nuclei, which are the new features present in the superior colliculi. First we will see the oculomotor nerve nuclei. The oculomotor nerve nuclei, where it is situated? It is situated in the central gray matter at the level of superior colliculi, in the floor of the cerebral aqueduct. At the floor of the cerebral aqueduct, within the central gray matter at the level of superior colliculi, oculomotor nerve nuclei are situated. These oculomotor nerve nuclei basically fuses to form oculomotor nuclear complex. oculomotor nerve nuclear complex, it is made up of large nuclei and small nuclei. These large nuclei, they supply the oculomotor extraocular muscles of the eye. Large nuclei supply the extraocular muscles of the eye except lateral rectus and superior oblique. Lateral rectus, it is supplied by 6th cranial nerve, and superior oblique, it is supplied by 4th cranial nerve. Now, small nuclear complex, or it is called Edinger-Westphal nuclei. This complex, it projects preganglionic parasympathetic fibers. Preganglionic parasympathetic fibers for the sphincter pupilli and ciliaris muscle. Sphincter pupilli and ciliaris muscles through the 3rd cranial nerve. The 3rd cranial nerve emerges from this complex and passes ventrally through the tegmentum and red nucleus. Through the tegmentum and red nuclei, and emerge on the surface in the sulcus present on the medial aspect of this crus cerebri. So this is again the cranial nerve which is emerging from the ventral aspect of the brain. Now another important feature, that is the red nuclei. These red nuclei are the oval bodies which is present on the dorsal aspect, ventral to the rectospinal tract and dorsal to the medial part of the substantia nigra. It is very small and looks red when freshly cut, and it is rich in iron content. The red nuclei receives fibers from cerebral cortex as corticorubral. From the cerebral cortex as corticorubral fibers, then it gives fiber to the spinal cord as rubrospinal, and also to the bulbar tract, rubrobulbar. It has also connection with the cerebellum also. This corticospinal, corticorubral and rubrospinal, both these actually forms alternate pathway for the pyramidal system. Alternate pathway for the pyramidal system, or we can say the extrapyramidal pathway. Pyramidal pathway we know, and this form the extrapyramidal pathway. The fibers which arises from this, they crosses as ventral tegmental decussation. This is the ventral tegmental decussation. Now, Now the superior colliculi. You know, superior colliculi, they are situated in the tectum at the level upper part, and they are connected to the lateral geniculate body through the superior brachium. This fiber also receives, this superior colliculi also receives fiber from the, this superior colliculi, lateral geniculate body, superior colliculi receives afferent fiber from the retina to the optic tract, passes through the superior brachium, and also, and this is called the retinotactal fibers. Retina to the superior colliculi. They also receives fiber from the cerebral cortex, and from the cerebral cortex, obviously area number 18 and 19 as corticotactal fibers. And the efferent fibers arises from here on both the side, decussate forms as the dorsal tegmental decussation. This is the dorsal tegmental decussation. Fibers from the retina and cerebral cortex, afferent fibers receives here, and the efferent fibers, they descend as the tectospinal and tectobulbar. These are fibers, the tectospinal and tectobulbar fibers decussate as dorsal tegmental decussation. So at this level we have a ventral tegmental decussation from the efferent fibers of the red nuclei and the dorsal tegmental decussation. Efferent fibers, they descend as tectospinal throughout the spinal cord and tectobulbar. The tectobulbar fiber, they communicate with the third, fourth and sixth cranial nerve. And this is the basis of movement of the eye and head towards the visual stimuli or auditory stimuli. Our eyes and head moves towards the visual or auditory stimuli because they have connection with these cranial nerves. And they also, this superior colliculi also helps in accommodation for the near object and reflex, nuclear reflex also. Another important feature is pretectal nuclei. These are the pretectal nuclei. The pretectal nuclei also receives afferent fiber from the retina, bypasses the lateral geniculate body, come in the superior colliculi, and finally the pretectal nuclei. Fibers from this pretectal nuclei, they goes ipsilateral Edinger-Westphal nuclei. Oculomotor nuclear complex also has Edinger-Westphal nuclei. Fiber passes to the ipsilateral as well as contralateral adductor Westphal nuclei by binding rounding the central gray matter. And these forms the basis of pupillary light reflex for direct as well as consensual both, because then the efferent fiber from the adjacent Westphal nuclei passes through the pre-ganglionic parasympathetic third cranial nerve and supply the ciliary, sphincter ciliary and pupillary muscle for the constriction. So these are some important features, mainly complex, oculomotor nerve nuclei complex, superior colliculi, red nuclei and the pretectal nuclei. Now we will see some clinical aspect. One important clinical feature at this level is the Weber syndrome. Weber syndrome, it involves this area. The ventral part of this section, and this involves mainly the third cranial nerve and this corticospinal tract. Weber syndrome. What will happen when the third cranial nerve will involve? It will lead to ipsilateral lower motor neuron type of paralysis of the eye muscles, extraocular muscles. The features will be ptosis, drooping of the upper eyelid because of the paralysis of the levator palpebrae superioris muscle. Then the external strabismus, external strabismus because of the unopposed action of the lateral rector muscles, which is supplied by sixth cranial nerve. Then loss of accommodation, dilated pupil, obviously dilatation of pupil. The corticospinal tract, it will lead to contralateral upper motor neuron type of paralysis of the body. So we will have two ipsilateral lower motor neuron paralysis of the extraocular muscles except the lateral rectus and superior oblique, and the contralateral upper motor neuron paralysis of the body. Another important clinical aspect is the Benedict syndrome. Benedict syndrome, it involves the red nuclei, third cranial nerve, involvement of third cranial nerve along with the red nuclei and medial lemniscus also. Another important is the superior, it also involves the superior peduncles, superior cerebellar peduncles. As we know, It will lead to ipsilateral lower motor neuron paralysis. Right nucleus and the cerebellar peduncle, they will lead to the tremor. And related is features of the cerebellum. And medial lemniscus will lead to sensory loss, which are related with the medial lemniscus. You all know, like proprioception, temperature, etc. These are the Benedict syndrome and the Weber's syndrome.